Welcome to the Heartification podcast, where I interview people on how art has affected their lives and what it means to them. Art has a very special place in my life. It not only makes me feel happy, but it allows me to make others feel special. This podcast is all about how art has made an impact on others' lives, for all ages, all backgrounds, and all walks of life. You can find more about this podcast guest in my show notes. Without further ado, let's welcome my next guest.
So he's an entrepreneur, author, and the real-life Wizard of Oz. Please welcome my next guest, Steve Sims.
Thanks for having me.
So how do you define art?
That's a brilliant question because it's all subjective, as we all know. But for me, art is something that's magical that someone else can do that causes you wonder and smile. So whether it be music, dance, artwork, paintings, anything that you look at and just creates a wonder and an awe, that's what I class as art.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also a form of expression. It helps people let out their emotions and their feelings.
Yes.
And what art forms are you exposed to?
Well, I love music. Funny enough, we have a very good audio system in the house, and we have terrible TVs because we don't really watch TV, but we're constantly listening to music and we constantly shuffle. So I can be like last night, for argument's sake, we were listening to a new album that's come out with Metallica and the San Francisco Philharmonic Orchestra called SM2. But when I listen to music, I could have Cher, then I could have Andrea Bocelli, and then I could have some kind of like dance tunes. I always love to hit shuffle because you never know what's going to come on next.
That's amazing. And so art brings out a creative side of you. And when you are growing your business, it's important to be creative and different. So do you think that art had a contributing factor to you being successful?
Yeah, it's, when people see me, they just see this big scary lump of a biker. But whenever I travel, and I get to travel a lot, my family know that I have to spend time in museums. I love to see the artwork. I love to see the best museums in the world and to see the artwork. But I also love to go down to the marketplaces that have just got just as exceptional artwork. You can find a gentleman in the middle of Nepal carving a piece of wood into the most amazing piece of artwork, statue, life, whatever. And so I believe that I've always tried to create and disrupt. And artwork to me disrupts you. It disrupts you from your day. And so when you see or you experience, we should say, when you experience art, it disrupts your mentality. You can have a bad day, listen to a piece of music, watch some dance, listen to a spoken word, see a painting, a picture, anything, and it will disrupt the mood you're in. So I think artwork for me is creative and disruptive, and I've always tried to be a creative disruptor.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's amazing how art can change your mood. Like you said, you can be having a bad day and it can connect with you and just connect in what you're feeling. And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And so you help entrepreneurs grow their business. So how important is it that they think creatively?
It's the lifeblood. If we look at the planet that we're in today, we've got a lot of transactional services. And AI, whether it be Siri, Alexa, Amazon, none of these things will enter into a conversation with you. Or if they do, they're a false conversation with predetermined sentences. So you can't call up Amazon and go, hey, I'm thinking of changing the toilet roll that I order. What should I get? You give it an order, you give it an instruction, and that's the same with Alexa. Alexa, put the windows up. Alexa, put the air conditioning on. Siri, how do I get to here? Siri, phone my friend. They create transactions. We're in a world now where we're used to barking orders at electronic devices. Electronic devices will provide an accurate response and transaction for you but it will never create and never disrupt. You'll never hear Alexa turn around and go, well, hang on, Steve, you listened to that music last week. You're in a mood today. Let me give you something that's going to get you into a calm state. You'll never hear that because we still, as human beings, have the ability to create and dream and disrupt. And so as an entrepreneur, it's our obligation, our commitment. And you are not an entrepreneur unless you're willing to constantly strive to create something else.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so appreciating art in whatever form allows people to take a step back and really think about things. So how important has this been for you in your personal life and in your business?
Well, the beautiful thing is you're conversing on art. And the beautiful thing is a businessman can be, or a business person can be an artist. You could have a singer is an artist, a painter is an artist, but so is someone that is developing and creating anything. So you can look at Elon Musk and go, that guy's an artist. He dreams of something and then he propels himself to conquer it. So for me, I've always been in awe of artists. I've always looked at someone that rides a motorcycle amazingly, someone that can be in a boxing ring and floats effortlessly, someone that can paint the most amazing structures with only ever seeing them once or never seen them and just dreaming a beautiful scape. So I've always been in awe of art and I've always strived to be an artist. But the downside is a lot of people pigeonhole what an artist is and then go, well, I can't paint. Oh, I can't drum. You can be an artist in whatever it is you do.
Yeah, definitely. Like a lot of people, when they think of art, the first thing that comes to their mind is painting or drawing or music. But art can be everywhere. Art is everywhere, and it can be absolutely anything as long as it has that creative side and as long as you're expressing yourself.
Correct. People get confused. People get focused on the word art and do relate it to one of those you mentioned. But anything is art if it's creative and disrupts the mood you're in and makes you think. It could be a fantastic documentary. It could be a TV show. It could be music. It could be someone dancing on the sidewalk. Anything that creates an emotion in you is some form of artistic representation.
Yeah, definitely. And you have interviewed and connected with so many big people. Is there one particular person who has had an artistic influence on you? And if so, how?
Oh, wow. So many. I think I try not to find the one. I hope there's never a quick answer to that question, because I never want to be in a scenario where I go, oh, it was this person, because that would be disrespectful to the other 500 people that I've spoken to. And I've had conversations with Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Sir Elton John, and they're all fantastic, and they've all created, and they've all disrupted. And then I have conversation with bartenders and heads of motorcycle gangs and prisoners serving life for crimes, and they've had just as much of an impact on me. So sadly, there is no one that I could say this is the one, but I can say there's many. I think the situation is you've got to be open to receiving some form of disruption in your life. When you're open, I call it the yellow car scenario. You know, you may not have seen a yellow car. You may never have seen a yellow car. But if your best friend or next door neighbor buys a yellow car, I guarantee you the following day, all you're going to see on the road is yellow cars, because you become tuned into something. So when I search for opportunity, when I'm open to opportunity, when I'm open to listening and receiving creative disruptors, I see them as frequently as I see yellow cars. So thousands of people have disrupted me in a creative manner, and I've been very pleased, and I hope that's going to continue.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I like your kind of thing on it with the yellow car. And so art can be therapeutic, and it can help people through some difficult times. So has art ever helped you through a difficult situation? And can you give an example?
So it creates a mood. I've seen and experienced artwork that has upset me. It can be very violent. It can be very graphic. And I'm talking about music. I'm talking about film, paintings, pictures. It doesn't have to be a mood lifter. It just has to disrupt you. The classic ones is when you're feeling a little bit down, put on some big pumping music and dance for a few minutes, or jump on a bike, or run around the block, and that will make an impact to you. But art is something that creates an emotion in you. Most of the time you want it to create some good. And even when it creates some negativity, like I went to Krakow, and I went to Auschwitz, and then I went to the museums afterwards in Auschwitz. And you can't go through Auschwitz and these museums without being completely devastated on what happened during the war there. You can't smile. You can't be happy. Even the fact that it ended, you can't be happy. It just creates an experience in you. But you take that away and you grow from it. And that's the beautiful thing. When you're disrupted, when you are made to change, you never retract to your original position. Going to Auschwitz, I am a changed man. Going to a museum and seeing and touching, going to Florence and actually standing at the feet of Michelangelo's David, you're a changed person. So as long as you encourage artwork to allow the change in your mood, that's going to allow you to grow and develop. And then you get to take that disruption. The disruption I got from all of the art that I felt, whether it be business people, athletes, music, I can channel into me and use when I want to disrupt.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so my heartification project is all about giving back to the community, specifically to those with disabilities and illnesses. So how do you give back to the community?
I'm a very selfish person. I have to be totally honest with you there. If it doesn't change me or benefit me, then I don't do it. And that's not what a lot of people think about charity. But understand, if you're doing something that's charitable, that helps other people, you're benefiting from that. It's making you happy. It's making you content. It's making you complete. So I had many times when I supported many different charities through my marketing or my branding, or through helping them get more seats sold through sales. There was many times, and I have to be honest with you, it didn't really trigger anything in me. I've been very good at marketing and branding some of the biggest events in the planet and making the event a lot of money, which in turn has helped our charities. But it hasn't really triggered me. So it was about 3 years ago that a friend of mine actually introduced me to working in prisons. And these are people that never had the ability or permission to dream and create. They were grown, I call it the zip code lottery. They were born in an area where they just grew in a unloved family and then was thrust into gang life. They never had a chance. They never had any hope. And if they'd have just lived in a different zip code, they wouldn't have found that. So I've gone into prisons a lot now, and I've met a lot of people that don't want to be like that, and they've chosen to change. So my personal fondness is Defy Ventures. It's a group that I've been supporting for about 3.5 years now. And I've taken over 100 entrepreneurs into prison to meet lifelong prison inmates and talk about their life, their mistakes, and how they've decided what they did does not define who they are. And so for me, I like to get into an environment that's going to challenge me. Again, it's down to that disruption. I want my perspective to be challenged. Now, you can turn around and go, that person's a murderer. I hate him. He's a murderer. How do you dare? You don't know. Think about it. If someone broke into your house and you protected your family by killing the intruder, you're now the murderer. Are you bad? So it really depends on the perspective. And that's what I've really enjoyed doing within Defy Ventures, really understanding another person's opinion. And when you can actually speak to someone and go, I understand how that happened. I understand the blocks that you went through and the stepping stones to get you where you are here. I understand the mistakes you made for you now to be paying the price and penalty. But when you can stretch your understanding that far, when you go into a business meeting and you're discussing a proposal or a payment plan or whatever, that's minute in getting into their understanding when you can compare it to what you got into a month ago in prison. So for me, I like to challenge myself and I like to bring others into a uncomfortable situation, because it's those uncomfortable situations that create the greatest growth.
So you've mentioned that you like observing people. So how does that help you find out who they are and what they want?
My whole journey started when I was a doorman of a nightclub. And it was a very bad nightclub. And it was not a very safe place for me to be. But I never had any money. I needed to work. But the funny thing was, I try to find the glory in anything I do. I try to find some outlet that allows me to benefit from wherever I am, even if it's a horrible nightclub in the back end of Hong Kong. What I discovered was I was able to look at people and watch people as they walked to the door of the nightclub, and I would guess. I would play a game. I would guess, why are they coming out tonight? Is it a hen night? Is it celebrating a contract? And as they would get to the doors, the guys and the girls, I'd be like, evening, ladies, what are we celebrating tonight? And if they went, we haven't seen each other since high school, if I got it right, I'd be like, I would try to pick up on people's body language, their eye contact, their aura, and try to get, and the word is assumption, and that's obviously a bad thing, but I would try to guess as much as what the person's going through as possible before I interacted with the conversation. You see, Chris Voss talks about 738-55. He says that 55% of our decisions are based on the person's body language. 38% of our decision is based on their tonality. Well, you can understand and see all of that before you've even conversed with them. So if only 7% is the actual conversation, it's a good exercise to play. If you're in a coffee shop, look around and go, are those people really in love? Is this a first date? Is it an old marriage? Is it they're discussing a proposal? Are they work colleagues? Play the game, stretch your mind. And I find it, as they say, gamifying. I find it enjoyable to see if I can guess the character before I've spoken to them. So quite simply, it's something I do a lot. I will stand at a bar, and the beautiful thing about me is I'm too ugly for most people to actually come anywhere near. If I'm in a bar, most people will avoid me. And that's fine, because the ones that do break through, like your crazy dad, the ones that do break through and have a conversation with me are strong enough in themselves to approach and have that conversation. And that's what I like. But I get to see that, and I just get to watch and be a voyeur of humanity. And I love that. I'm not a people person. I really am not. But I do love to observe people. And I do love to watch what they get up to. So the fact that you're transforming that into artwork, I like to transform it into perspective and understanding so I can utilize it in just trying constant things. And like my wife, when we were in Chiang Mai and we had the fish nibbling at our toes, my wife couldn't do it. My wife actually was like, I'm not going in. The fact that we've never done it before, the fact that it caused us a little bit of discomfort, for me, was the only reasons I needed to actually do it. And that's how I grow. I've done it now. Do I want to do it again? No. But am I frightened of it? Not at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you are a very straightforward person. So how has that benefited you and everyone around you?
I was not a refined person. I class myself as a work in progress. I find that the laser focus in being who I am is actually reverse, okay? I have no laser focus on being me. I have no effort on being me. And it's quite different. If I'm coaching someone, I'm laser focused on their needs. I'm really working on where their PowerPoint's on, what conversation are they ignoring, what are they trying to develop. I'm focused on them, laser focused, as you say. But when it comes to me, I want no effort for any confusion on who I am. So I don't try. And here's the funny thing. I would warn you against trying to get rid of those rough edges. Okay, because it's those rough edges that make it relatable. Your perfection is in your imperfections. So if something's not quite perfect, excellent, because what is? I try to be relatable. This is me. I'm a guy in a black t-shirt, bald head, big fella, say what I think. You can never get confused with me. And one of the biggest problems we have, and we have it today with COVID, is confusion and lack of clarity. If I said to you COVID was going to end on the 1st of October, you would simply go, okay, it's going to finish at 9 a.m. on the 1st of October. I've got this amount of time to work on that project. You would become changed. But the fact that we've got no clarity and we've got all this confusion, should we wear a mask? We shouldn't wear a mask. Is it contagious for young? Yes, it is. No, it is. We don't know. We have no underlying clarity. For me, I search for clarity and transparency. And by doing it, rather than focus on me portraying someone, I don't. I just go, this is it. I post some stupid stuff. I'm not the sharpest person in the shed, but I do get stuff done. And I make myself easy to understand.
So how would you like people to get in touch with you?
Well, I'm old and I want to help as many people as I can. So I have a Facebook page, An Entrepreneur's Advantage, with Steve Sims. And I like to throw things in there to help people, to get them to think differently. So if you want to follow me and get involved in conversations, join our Facebook group. It's free of charge. There's no selling. We just want to support each other. If you don't want to support each other, don't get in the Facebook page. But An Entrepreneur's Advantage with Steve Sims.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for doing this.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Remember, if you want to find out more about this guest, please go to my show notes where I have all the links needed. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to my podcast series and help me by sharing it, leaving a rating, and a comment. I hope you join me on my next podcast. Bye for now.